Ladies and gentlemen, Hard-Nosed Derby Podcast. What's up?
Boy, it is the dead of the winter.
We got new equipment.
We're expecting a shitload of snow in the next week.
Hope this shit sounds better.
Maybe they can get a couple different people talking and it might sound better. Just throwing that out there.
There's that. Yeah, it's supposed to have a fuckload of snow, which means I'm going to be super covered up at work.
So covered up at work.
Well, let's jump into it.
You've been getting some messages. We're kind of doubling up over some coverage. There is kind of a method to the madness a little bit.
Well, we're covering, and like I said, we're covering what needs to be talked about at the moment.
Yes. We did a couple weeks with Chaos.
Yep.
You know, we got Derek and Logan both on. We're done with that part.
For a minute.
Yes.
Till we get some drivers.
Yep. Drivers kind of overtake the rest of the bullshit we talk about.
Right.
Just depends on how far we want to drive or who wants to call.
But we have to set that shit up. Like we've got to give you all a basis for why we're getting such and such on there. Yes, you're going to hit some dry spots. But without the information, it's hard for us to lead forward with. Because if we get such and such on here and they're running Spring X and you're like, well, what the fuck is Spring X? We're trying to keep that from happening.
Yep. Speaking of Spring X, Spring Explosion. I'm sorry.
Whatever.
My bad. Fuck it. Sorry, Cameron. I'm just going to go back to it's Spring X.
Yeah.
Third week of April, Champaign-Urbana County Fairgrounds. 350 plus cars.
That's a lot of fucking cars.
Correct. We had CJ on a couple weeks ago who started teching for Taylor and Josh a few years ago. We were talking before that even when Tori Schutte had Derby Icons, I personally think that this is bigger now than it was when Tori had it.
Well, and I'm going to shed a little light on that because I feel the same way. And I don't think it's anything against Tori. I think that social media and the PR work that Taylor and them do, fuck me, man.
Yep.
Because every time you turn around, I'm seeing a Derby Icons logo somewhere.
Yep. Yeah. Everything is going a step farther than what it used to. On the PR side, on the promotion side, on the knowledge, the rules. I mean, you can go to fucking probably 15 different places and get the rules for Spring X.
Yeah.
Whether it's on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, all that shit. And like I said, Taylor and Josh Delar will do a live feed to talk about rules changes, lineup changes, anything like that. He's got a good set of rules for multiple classes, and Taylor has jumped on board with the Hardcore Promotions Frankie Guy Youth Nationals. So, you know what? Let's just get him on.
Yeah, do that. Make it happen.
Be right back. This episode is brought to you by Broadhead Decals. From door wraps and roof signs, window stickers and banners, let Broadhead Decals take care of all your vinyl needs with only quality products used.
Justin's graphic design abilities will get you everything you could ever want. With super fast shipping, their turnaround time is second to none. So let Broadhead Decals take you to the next level.
We just said we'd get him on the phone, so
we got him.
All the way from Champaign-Urbana, Illinois, Mr. Taylor Feldkamp of Derby Icons. What's up, buddy?
Oh, not much. Just recovering from a couple of snow days we had here for work.
I figured that with your line of work with snow removal and a tow truck, that probably keeps you pretty busy, doesn't it?
Yeah, we had a couple rollovers Friday, had a couple inches of snow, and had 2 semis roll over and get mangled together, so that'll keep you busy for a while.
Well, it's only January, dude, so April is coming fast for Spring X 2024. How ready are you?
It's pretty much an everyday job between me, Mike, and Josh. We're pretty much doing something every day to get prepared for the event and make sure the event goes smooth and learn from stuff that we did last year that we need to change for this year. But pretty much every day we're doing something as far as growth for it or things for it.
This year, you guys have jumped on board with the Frankie Guy Youth Nationals. The Thursday show is something that you guys have never done before, to my knowledge. That Thursday will be just the youth one and done feature only, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, I'm kind of one of those promoters and drivers, if you're going to have a day that's open, I always think, you should be running something, some kind of entertainment of something. I just thought it would be really cool to open Spring Explosion with over 300 and some drivers and have the youth there. And I don't know if a lot of people watch the Youth Derby because they're always working on their cars and, going through the midway, looking at the vendor stuff. But we plan to shut everything down Thursday night for at least an hour and give these youth guys all the attention. There won't be any vendors. There won't be inspection. Basically, it'll be all eyes on them. And we're also going to be giving their entry fees back once they pass inspection. Also, I'm going to try to do some raffles for them. I'm going to get a hold of some of the vendors and try to get some kind of parts or some kind of gift certificates or something and make the youth a little bit bigger than it ever has been, really anywhere, and to have their own day of opening up.
Dude, that is one thing that we have figured out that we enjoy so much is promoting anybody that has something to do with the youth in this sport, because we have said so many times, no youth, the sport dies. And watching you guys taking this to the next level to get these kids over to Dunbar, Pennsylvania in this fall is just something that we really appreciate you guys stepping up and doing for these kids.
Yeah. I mean, we set up, 3 or 4 drivers to Sam Williams show, and paid them to go and all that. So it's kind of like doing the same thing, but getting them over to Pennsylvania,
Now, if you could just figure out how to run the compacts on Monday, I'd be completely happy.
Yeah, I got to be out of there by Monday. I don't know.
Now, we're going to break down a little bit for the listeners. Back several years ago, Spring Explosion was in Champaign-Urbana under a different owner of the promotion company. Due to the time restraints that you guys have to get this show started and finished. Is those restraints still there for the city?
Yeah, the restraints are still there, but I mean, if you start early enough and you get everybody in there and everybody's inspected and you have your inspection times locked in, I mean, there's lots of things behind the scene that, lots of people don't understand of why you're doing it that way or why you're doing it this way. But if we have all cars inspected and we don't allow any more inspection at a certain time, you can start the Derby really whenever you want. But lots of places, they don't do that, and you're always waiting on 5 people to finish their car or get there, and it's just really a huge hiccup. And we like to run things smooth, and everything's timed. So your inspection times are cut off. You have to have a stick that ensures us that we can start the show on time. Or if we need to bump it up an hour, we can do that. And some people are like, well, you got to start on the time that your flyer says. Well, that may be true, but if I got 30 minutes and everybody's ready to go, I'm probably starting the Derby 30 minutes before, because to my knowledge, you should already be here, supporting your drivers and, supporting us as well. Why wait till 2? We could start at 1:30. I mean, that gives us 30 minutes in case, something was to happen, weather or, track related or, something like that versus running out of the time of the day. And what the previous promoter did is he started too late in the day and then it ran too long. And then the previous owner before that, they kind of had the same problems as well. Like Friday, we'll start at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Before, they started at like 5 trying to get in, 15 or 20 heat races. And I don't want to do that. And plus, as a driver, it's kind of nice starting early and you can go to the motel and go get a steak and baked potato at 7:30, 8:30, 9 o'clock at night and get some good sleep and then come fix your car the next day. I always dreaded getting done at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night and you got to settle for Taco Bell and a warm shower and it's midnight before you go to bed.
Well, that's what I liked whenever we come out there and watch the show. We had time to go to Texas Roadhouse after the show was over.
Yeah, I had many restaurants. I called them beforehand and said, you guys are probably going to be busy. There's a derby in town. They're like, yeah, that derby's always been in town, and we get maybe like 20 people. I said, yeah, but we're going to be done by 8:30 or 9 o'clock on Friday, and the places around there are going to be, you guys are going to be busy. And they're like, well, I guess we'll see. They called me that Monday morning and was like, holy, we had, all of our people had extra tips and, the place was packed and we appreciate that. So I'm going to try to contact a couple of restaurants and see if they can't give some kind of percentage or a free drink or something for, people coming there and giving them, quite a bit of money for, a couple of hours of that weekend.
Well, I know that whenever we seen that the Derby was about over, I got on the waiting list at Roadhouse. And there was already a 15-minute wait, and there was probably 30 minutes left of the show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're preaching to the choir here. I'm a big fan of derbies being over by 9 o'clock.
Yeah, and like I said, I've been to lots of derbies that, they start at 7 o'clock at night, and it's like you've already walked through the midway, you've already talked to all the vendors, you've already talked to most of the people that there 3 or 4 times about the same thing, and it's like, why don't we run something? So we come up with Thursday night, giving the youth, their whole day. That's kind of where that came from.
I love it. I think it's a game changer, and I think if all the promoters get on board with that shit, you'll start seeing a lot better shows and more crowds at the shows.
Yeah, not only that, but people would be, the vendors, they set up sometimes on Wednesday and Thursday, and the people are, trying to get their cars inspected and doing all that. So if we shut it down for an hour, we're hoping that everybody is going to come there and get their cars inspected and put them on the track and tarp them up, and then they can watch the youth derby and then go back through the midway and get food or check the vendors out. There's just lots of different things that happen at a demo that I don't think get the right attention as far as like the vendors. They only get traffic in between heat races or before the derby starts. So there needs to be some kind of a fine line there where we can just either shut it down or, change the dynamic of it. It's the same thing at, every show you go to.
Well, Taylor, I'm going to ask you, what in the hell made you buy Derby Icons and start putting on derbies?
Well, the backstory of that is I own another promotion company that's called On the Gas Promotions, and we do probably 10 to 15 county fairs in like an 80-mile radius around my hometown. And then they ended up moving Derby Icon, Spring Explosion, Mellow Mayhem to Portland, Indiana. So everybody that had interest in running a team show, they had to go to Indiana to do that, which a lot of your drivers from, different states that are away from Indiana would have to drive farther to get there. So I called the previous owner and said, hey, if you're not coming back to Champaign, I'm going to open up a team show at the Champaign County Fairgrounds in April or, May, one of the two. He said, yeah, that's fine. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to go back to Portland or I might go somewhere else. Yeah, that's fine. So I started promoting it. He called me like 2 weeks later and said, hey, do you have a lot of interest? I said, yeah, we have about, 150, 175 drivers that are willing to come. Nothing set in stone as far as, registration and all that. It's just people that I contacted, and everybody was like, yeah, belongs in Champaign, and that's where it needs to be. Great venue and hotels and all that. And about a month later, he called me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in buying Derby Icons? I'm going to get out of it and focus on my other promotion company that I have, and just having the two together doesn't really work with me." I gave it, I don't know, probably 2 hours of thought and called him back up and purchased it, and then switched it to Derby Icons for the two events we have. But we have 15 county fairs that we put on, so the two promotion companies are different instead of all one. But that's kind of the backstory of how that all happened.
And you're still nuts for that. 15 derbies, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's quite a bit in the summertime, and then all the county fairs, they go off of the Illinois State Fair for all their fairs and horse shows and demos and livestock and all that. So they moved back like a week, which caused everybody else to move back a week. So I literally have 7 derbies in the month of July.
Yuck.
I don't know if people know that or not, but there's only 4 weekends in July. Have multiple derbies over the whole weekend, or they have a Thursday night derby that we put on that I never would have thought would be anything on the Thursday night. And I bet there's probably 6,000 people at a county fair and probably 80 to 100 cars that show up on a Thursday night starting at 6:30 at night.
Well, you say that. We had a Monday show that was one of the most successful shows that we had. That Labor Day show that we used to put on. I mean, it was ridiculous. And that was the same thing whenever I brought it to the fair board's attention. They were like, nobody's going to show up to that. And we get there, we had 100 and some cars, and the stands, you couldn't have got another person in them.
Yeah, that's how that was. It's just packed. I never would have thought when we got the contract signed that I said Thursday night, but it's just rough because we put one on Thursday night, and then Saturday night we have another one that's only 30 miles down the road. So
that makes me sick to my stomach.
Dude, how do you guys come up with your rule changes? Because I know that like you and Josh will do a live feed on Facebook to talk about the rule changes that you guys are talking about, and what makes you guys get that stuff solidified? Is it you're getting some drivers' input on some rules, or maybe just some different options on maybe said rule changes from 23 Spring X to 24 Spring X?
I mean, Josh is very good at what he does. I wouldn't be able to do it without him. So basically, he come up with the rule set when we first started, and it kind of went off of our county fair build, and it kind of went off of other people's builds as a promoter, to where you could change something, either good or bad in their eyes to be able to run our show. And we started off with one rule set, and Josh pretty much said, I'm going to change something every year, but it's not going to be drastic because, as a driver, once you run somewhere for 2 or 3 years, you kind of know how to build the car and weld the doors and do the cage and mount your bumper. Well, when you change all the rules all the way extreme, now your car is getting inspected differently because of the huge rule change. And I don't think drivers like that. I don't like that. I used to run a show. I ran there 4 or 5 years. They changed the inspector and they changed the rules. And I showed up and, I had to cut the most, nitpicky stuff ever. My door plates were cut, a quarter inch too long. The trunk lid was different. I mean, just little things that was never, ever going to win the Derby ever at all. But he said, they're in black and white. That's what we're going to. And, that kind of just rubbed me the wrong way. So I didn't go back because I had been supporting you for 3 or 4 years, and now you change the rules extremely a different way. Now it's going to take me another 3 years to have to build a competitive car when you had something working before. So if something's working, you just keep it that way and just add things that are going to make the drivers easier to build the car. Don't just change it all the way because you got 30 people that are calling you that you should do this and you should do that. Because I can tell you 100% that you're not going to make everybody happy in the promotion world. And if you start taking 30 drivers' input and something's already working, half of those 30 drivers aren't even going to come to your Derby anyways. You're going to get 5 or 8 out of the 30. So what did you really do besides, cause more of a headache?
Which, I know CJ Barnes, we had him on just a couple weeks ago. He helps you guys do your tech stuff, and he actually told us after 2023 show that he was so surprised because no cars were built overly stupid where somebody's going to have that 3 or 4 hour cut list, like you'll get at Blizzard Bash or you'll get at Capital Carnage or something like that. He is so... that's one thing that he really was so happy about, that these guys are coming to your shows and they're being respectful to the point where they're not trying to overbuild so stupid where they have to spend half the night cutting their shit apart.
Yeah, and then, a lot of that is, they probably would have had more of a list, but, some of the things, it didn't make or break it that your door welds are a 1/4 inch over, you know what I'm saying? You just cut the pieces in the chop saw and welded them on there, So
Yep.
Just little things like that it's not going to make or break it.
All the promoters that we talk to, so many of them are getting on board with that. If it don't make a shit on how strong it is helping the car or the safety, anything like that, if it's just not that big of a deal anymore compared to what it used to be, 10 years ago. If your door strap was a 1/2 inch too long, you'd be cutting it. Or if,
Yeah.
just.
I had a guy that works for me. He knows nothing about demo cars, just wanted to help. And I cut one plate to weld the doors and the trunk lid and the hood. Well, he stuck them in the chop saw, and he just laid it up next to there, made a little mark, laid it up next there, made a little mark. They were all probably like 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8 over, and I'm just sitting there welding them all together, doing the trunk. That's all I had on my list. I spent like 2 hours cutting 1/4 inch or 3/8 off of my door and trunk and hood.
And that is insane. That is fucking insane to me.
Yeah, and it's like also 110 degrees out in the middle of July, there's nothing else you can make me change. I'd rather change a spindle than cut on the car. It's hard enough to weld on the Ford anyways, let alone cut one side, with a torch all the way down.
It's different if you're 8 inches over on a hump plate. Like, I understand that. You got to cut that down. But a 1/4 inch on a door strap, man, get fucked. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I had. All the way around the car.
Yeah, fuck every bit of that. I would have almost loaded that fucking thing out of spite.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't very good.
That's just crazy to me. And as soon as more promoters get on the brainwave that you've got going on there, it'll smooth their tech line up.
Yeah, we just try to do the right thing. As Josh ran cars, built cars, and he's built just about every kind of car, so he kind of knows, what he's doing as far as that. And then the inspection crew that we got, I would put it with up against anybody, and I'm not just saying that just because we're a promotion company and I think we give the best inspection, but literally every one of my guys that helps Josh, they've either ran cars or they have built cars, and I think that means a lot when you have a car come in and something looks weird. You got 3 people's judgment call of, yeah, that's definitely not right. I've ran this car and there used to be a hole there, or the frame rails are pulled in, because I know that the rear frame rails are, so many feet apart and they have them sucked in 2 inches. Like, really surprised me on some of the detail that they had on the stuff that matters in inspection with CJ and Slim and Josh and Richie Hill, and we got Josh Johnson as well helping us this year. He come on the tail end of last year, and a lot of that stuff, I don't get a whole into the inspection stuff because I don't want to have he said, she said stuff. So when people call me, I say, call Josh. But just poking my head through there, here and there, just checking on them. I was really surprised on the stuff that they had measured and the stuff that they had caught. And I don't know if that would have been caught at a different derby or not, but I was really surprised.
Well, we actually talked to CJ a while back about sometimes you'll kind of get some oddball cars that show up. such as a good buddy of mine, Adam Lemonager, brings those. Last year he had that weird Merc wagon. We were actually talking about how thinking maybe that, and I wasn't putting Adam on the spot when I said it. Sometimes people bring these oddball cars because a lot of the tech guys aren't used to looking at all those oddball cars. But just like CJ said, if you know what you're looking for, it doesn't matter what car it's on.
Yeah, and not only that, but we have a couple subframes too. That we have. We didn't have them last year on a car trailer. Like we have a Ford subframe and 03 subframe and old iron subframes, caddy subframes, and I mean as long as you're thorough on tech and all that, I don't know what guys could really do if you've been running a car and inspecting cars for years. I don't know what you could do to get over on the next guy behind you on this caliber of a show. It's not like it's a county fair and you're not laying on the ground and they've welded 2 patch plates on the inside of the frame,
Mm-hmm. Well, 2023 was a little bit different for you guys at Derby Icons. You actually had 2 qualifiers, one from Spring X and the other one from Metal Mayhem, with your top 3 and your Mad Dog. Are we looking at the same thing for 2024 for the qualifier for South Dakota this year?
So the qualifier was just Mayhem only, the top 3 at Mayhem and the Mad Dog. And it's probably going to be the same thing for Metal Mayhem. The problem we ran into last year is some of the drivers ran other shows and qualified already, so we had to figure out the next step of who needs to go and what place did they run and things like that. But I'm fully invested. I mean, I called my guys that ran and said, if you need rear end, you need parts, you need something, you call me and we'll get it figured out, or whatever you need to get there. I mean, you guys are representing me, so 4 of you guys are definitely going 110%. And if it's not all 4 qualified, then we go to the next one and the next one. But when you have something invested like that, and you got they're supporting you as a promotion company and a friend and a fan, you should be there supporting them all the way when they're running their car. I feel like some other promoters might have just paid and sent them there, but I don't think that's quite right. I would think you'd want the guy supporting you and you supporting him. I would think you guys want a hand in hand be in it together all the way until the car doesn't run anymore.
Correct. It's kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of like an all-star game or a Pro Bowl. Where these guys are chosen from your team. Came from your show, your promotion company. So you're just riding it with them just the same way as their head coach would for, their team.
Yeah, that is correct. Yep.
And I think if the rest of the promotion companies did the same shit, that so many more people would be so much more happier to come run their shows, to try to qualify, to get through, to go to South Dakota, because we have spoke about this. I think South Dakota was a game changer on action. How the Unreal facility. I got COVID, so I didn't get to go, but my partner over here, he got to go, and then he almost got kicked out for hitting somebody with a neoprene koozie.
We gotta keep bringing that up, don't we?
But it's just like, it's almost, in my opinion, somebody's almost reinventing the wheel. I don't know how else I can really put that, but what you guys are doing on the outside shows is just crazy. Whether it be the Spring X or it be the Mayhem, everything is run in such a timely manner. We always say there's times when everything looks like it goes so smooth, but it's kind of like a duck upon the water. You can only see the top, but you're not seeing what's going on underneath that water. But we don't see, the last 2 years we've been to your shows, we haven't seen any hiccups that would make us think that you guys are treading your asses off under there.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty much on top of everything, but it's definitely an emotional roller coaster, for me and Josh and the inspection crew, especially for me and Josh. The other guys are there, and but they're not there all year. Josh answers that phone every day, all weekend. And I'm doing stuff online. I have Mike that does the registration. He's always doing something every day, and people are calling, and I switch this spot, I switch that spot, and I mean, there's a lot of time and stuff that goes into that. And then, the week before the Derby, we go to the fairgrounds and set the track up and, get the bleachers going and get all the campers in there. And, there's a lot of emotional kind of stress on the backside to make sure that, this event goes smoothly. And, we try to learn from our mistakes, not mistakes, but learn from our year before. What could we do different? Like last year, we had inspection in the horse barns, and when you come around the track as an individual just coming to the Derby, you're fighting traffic with the people that are already at the Derby to get their car inspected. So we moved inspection all the way to the very back of the fairgrounds and put in 2 lifts. So when you come into the fairgrounds, it's just smooth traffic in, smooth traffic out, a lot less people up in the front. They're all the way in the back. We put a thing out for parking, which means all the compact guys have to be in the compact section, van section, full-size section. That helps us if there's a problem with a start time or inspection, or we want to change something on everybody's car, or we want to put extra tape on their sticks, or whatever the case might be. We know if you go to the compact section, you're going to have all 80 people in the compact section. So if you wanted to make an announcement just to the compact guys, you're going to have all of them in one spot. And I know some people are like, well, I want to pit with my full-size guy because we're buddies. I get that, but on our end, out of 80 people, now I have 79 that heard me, and now I need to find one guy that's clear on the other side of the facility, and it's just easier to have everybody with each other. Not only that, the skid steer guys, they kind of know where they need to go. If it's a compact guy, they have a map showing where all the compacts are. They're not trying to zigzag back all around and backtrack and all that. So that's kind of another thing that we do that, people might think like, well, why do we have to park where that map's at? Well, I just told you why, because it's a lot easier. And they don't understand that because they're not in the shoes that me and Josh are in the day of.
Well, sometimes the Derby guys, they have a hard part of listening. Sometimes it goes in one ear and out the other.
It's called selective hearing.
Yeah, the other thing that amazes me is, like, we put the rules out, and, we always want people to read the rules and then call and have a question. It just seems like they just call and ask about the bumper section, and then they haven't even read the bumper section yet. So then at the very end of the phone call with Josh, it's like, obviously you haven't read the rules because you're giving me 3 different options of how you want to mount your bumper, and none of those 3 are going to work. So read the rules and then call me back.
Oh yeah, you don't know how many phone calls I got about what do you consider a 3-point cage? And I'm like, it has to make 3 points of contact. So if I use a dash bar and a back seat bar, I was like, no, that won't work. It's in the fucking room.
Sometimes they come up with, and I think it's because they don't read them, and then when they call Josh back, they're like, well, I'm looking at the rules right in front of me, and, I definitely understand that now. So it's like, that would have saved, like, we always want people to call with questions. We're not saying that, but just read the rules and then call, because, they don't understand that Josh has a full-time job, family, and work, and running his own business, and he's answering the phone 50 times a day.
Over dumb shit.
It could only be 15 times a day if people would have took the time and read the rules.
Correct. And calling them over dumb shit. And if nobody knows, Josh DeLar is not a little feller. So if you've got a head tech that kind of looks like Dave Bautista from WWE, you don't really want to piss him off before he's going to look at your car.
That is correct.
So Taylor, we know you're a driver as well. What is as just a driver or a fan, not even as a promoter, when people are rolling into Spring X, what is your favorite event of the weekend?
I mean, for Spring X, I think it's the large car and compact heat races. I mean, this year we have the two-man bone stock, which I think the two-man bone stock is going to be probably right there with the full-size heat races. Last year we just had we called it a 35-car bone stock, and those guys, they come out right from the green flag, and it was action-packed the whole time. I think adding the team aspect of it, I think they're gonna beat the entertainment of last year of the 35-car bone stock. I mean, I think we ran 35 cars, and I think the one heat race was like 25 minutes.
Yes.
Which, that's just, unbelievable.
I know we got some really good exposure over one hit that was made there.
Yeah, I talked to him probably a couple times a month, and he's that was the highlight of the show.
I couldn't have picked a better car to put our name on the side of.
Yeah, and you probably didn't know that before that. Running, you didn't know what he was going to do, or it was going to be that way. But the backstory is the entertainment and all that. But I think the two-man, I think they're going to set the bar just as much the same pace.
Well, I don't know if you're, picked a real good car to put the hard nose down the side. But when I uploaded that video, I had no idea when I uploaded it what it was going to do. So I'm just telling you, there's still people sharing that video. There's still people watching that video.
I seen it the other day. It had I don't know how many. I think it was 200 and something views.
Yeah, like 3 months ago, it was still at like 218,000 views. So, and it's all the exposure on the Spring X track.
Yeah. That's that goes back to, a lot of people don't drive that way because they want to win, or, they don't do that. But at the same time, that's good action for the fans. And without the fans there, I wouldn't be able to do any of this, especially pay the drivers, because there'd be no money there.
Well, we were actually talking. He was sitting right with me before they actually went out to run that feature. And afterwards, he jumped over where his car was, and I said, "What the fuck caused you to do that?" He said,
"No reverse."
He said, "Transmission, no reverse." He said, I knew I was on borrowed time. He said, "So if I can go ruin somebody else's day, fuck it, I'm going to do it."
Yeah, all four wheels on those cars.
Yeah, it was a shot. So,
yeah, I'm not sure what would have happened if that other guy's car wasn't bent like his, and they met in the middle. That would have been probably a whole different outcome.
Oh yeah, because we talked
he would have been eating the header at that point.
Yeah.
Instead of just being able to lick it, it would have been in his mouth.
Yeah, I wonder if those guys in those cars could, give us a price breakdown of what all they tore up at that time.
Well, I can actually shed a little light on this. After I got the Snapchat, I called him and I was like, "Hey, man, what all did you break?" And he goes, "Everything." Switch box, shifter,
transmission,
broke the block. It broke everything.
Yeah, I could definitely believe it.
Well, brother, we appreciate you getting on. I know my partner's work schedule, we keep saying it really sucks. So I will for sure be there. We'll take off Friday morning and get over there, and we'll be hanging out for a couple days to enjoy all of this. I just let everybody know they can get on Derby Icons on Facebook, and you guys keep them updated with everything that they possibly need to know. So we just appreciate your time. We know you're a busy guy. So, brother, we will see you April if you're good with it.
Yep, that will work, man. Whatever you guys need.
Taylor, we appreciate you, buddy. Be safe.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right,
man.
See you.
All right, bye.
Well, there. I hope that, answered some of the questions.
I think, he said it. You get guys in places in the correct places.
Yes.
You don't put them somewhere where they were either struggle or not comfortable with. He's got dudes right where the fuck they need to be.
Well, it works.
And it works.
And that's what I like to see with these bigger promoters and stuff is they're finally getting that, just because I got him don't mean I need to put him there.
Correct. Yeah.
They're kind of figuring out where everybody's falling into place.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you do that, it's a fucking well-oiled machine at that point.
I do know they lost to Compact Tech.
Right.
They lost their head Compact Tech. I'm not sure who got put in on that side, but I know on the rules on the Compact side it says call Josh. I'm not sure how many compacts Josh has ever built. I'm sure he can pick one up and throw that fucker out of line if he wanted to, but and he didn't seem too jazzed about your Monday show for compacts. I'm just throwing that out there. But you said if I can talk about it enough, maybe I can will that shit to happen. This isn't Murtaugh and Riggs, but you're trying.
Right.
You're very trying. Dudes, the list is out.
Mm-hmm.
His team show stuff is out.
We can cover that.
And we're talking fucking nasty.
Yeah.
Nasty. So,
But changing the game. I love it.
yes.
Everybody's got their plays. And I love how he sets the cars up whenever you're there. The pits. That shit's killer. It's kind of like what we did in Palmyra.
Yes.
Whenever we brought them all in after they were teched and they had a stick, they come in, you park with your fucking class.
Yep.
Because that way we had to send one person to go get the next group.
Oh, yeah, because they was all sitting on their cars or just huddled up and not giving a fuck. They might have had some torches or whatever
Right.
over there.
And there might be some cold beers.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know the exact recipe, but
The only thing that I wish on that facility, I wish the track was wider.
yes.
And we've said that before. It's really long and really narrow. They have a lot of their heats are action packed, but when it gets to that feature time, you can get congested with so many cars in the middle. And
That's what fucks them because it almost naturally splits that track whenever cars are dropping. Which on the bone stock side, I would prefer that
correct.
because it saves your fucking Schaefer shots.
That's what it's called, Schaefer shots. Yeah, because he just picked a hole
And that's where he went.
and didn't give a fuck what was on the other end of it.
Well, he knew he wasn't going to win it.
Correct. Old boy just had to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yes, and everybody's been there.
Yeah.
But let's knock that in the head for right now.
Yes.
We will be back
Yep.
later. Everybody's always wanting to talk about these influencers. They're wanting to talk about the people that are, documenting these builds. They're really revolutionizing the social media side of the Demolition Derby world. And we've got another guy that we can talk to about that. You want to go ahead and grab him?
Yeah, let's call Nebraska.
Let's do it.
Cool.
Well, everybody wants to hear from these guys that they're like I said, revolutionizing the building side of the Derby world.
Correct.
The people that are documenting these builds start to finish, it's in my opinion really revolutionizing all that stuff and leveling the playing field.
And it's a little bit different when the people who are doing this are techs as well.
Fucking A, and they're not just your run-of-the-mill builders that are doing this. These are, and all across the platform, from like the guy we're about to talk to. We've seen him in compact now, and we've seen him in clamshell wagons.
Correct.
So
And underneath the car on a lift in Utah.
right. So Mr. Wil Steinbeck, how's it going, man?
Oh, it's going pretty good. Living that dream.
We were going to get you on here and kind of talk, we've had some people reaching out to us wondering about everybody's thoughts on the documented builds. Some people are, these kids and everything, they need to learn on their own through trial and error. And, we agree to that somewhat, but you're not buying $50 Impalas anymore. They're $1,500 Impalas, and it's hard for an 18-year-old kid to buy 6 of those to learn off of.
That, and, us older guys, and I say older, so anybody from age probably 35 to 60, back in the day, when you were building derby cars, all the top-notch builders, they wouldn't say shit if their mouths were full of it. So you had to fight, claw, do everything you could to learn everything. And like you said, you get a damn 76 Impala for free, maybe even a roundback wagon for free for helping a guy or for a case of beer. Now, it's not that way.
No, not at all. I noticed that you're the TikTok side of things. Yours is finally. It looks like to me it's taken off. Is that something that you're enjoying keeping up on, or does it kind of feel like you've got another job now?
I enjoy keeping up on it because it helps out so much. But man, it's such a double-edged sword because people don't understand the backlash. You make one, you show something, and people get pissed, or a promoter calls you, or this, that, and the other. Everything I do derby-wise, I don't really feel is another job other than promoting. Because, as you guys know, that's such a thankless job, but somebody has to be there to do it.
Fuck promoting.
Yeah.
Will?
But it just, for me, it's a little bit harder to get in depth on some of that stuff because this is what I do for a living. That's what a lot of people don't know. I don't have another 9 to 5. This is it. So I don't have anybody to stand here after hours and hold a camera as I'm doing something. So mine is, I do it, then I tell you what I did, which is a little bit harder to learn, but at least you have something to look at.
Now, here's what I'm going to ask, Will. That is what a lot of people do not know is building derby cars is your job. You get paid to do said builds. Here is my question. How in the hell do you shuffle that with some stuff that you're helping out with in Nebraska for those shows, and then your stirring dirt stuff as a tech there? How in the hell do you juggle all that shit?
Isn't it pretty rough sometimes? Sometimes, especially now, stirring dirt makes some big rule changes that if you read, it's going to help the drivers out. And then every time I make a rule change, and then you get a customer that hears about you and they want you to build a car for, 4 states away, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in, but luckily my whole family kind of does this, and I can bounce stuff off them. And my wife helps me out promotion-wise, and so it's a lot, but, if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it.
Well, let's jump into some of these fun fact questions that a lot of these listeners like, and something that you've answered, I'm sure, 1,000,001 times. What is your favorite build to date?
Favorite build that to date?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even know. I suppose it would be the favorite build plus where I ran it. If you want to talk about it as a whole, would have probably been the first Vegas in March, and that was a 75 Two Rolls 98.
You know how many people go back to that Vegas show and that is their favorite, no matter if they took a shitbox wire car that was rusted to fuck or the nastiest roundback that you could possibly build. Everybody goes back to Vegas who ran that show.
Yes.
And that's where they want to go back to.
And the first one was awesome. And I think, obviously talking to Johnny and Gumby as extensively as we do, the team show one, not so much awesome because it was just a lot of work. It was, we could have had that derby in a town that had 10 people, and you would have experienced Vegas as much as you would have that town. But the first one, the whole derby lasted less than 4 hours or 5 hours those days or 3 days, whatever it was. And then it was just meet, greet, party. I'm not a big drinker, but I could still go out, and there was just Derby guys as far as you could see. And no fights, no arguments, no, like, for lack of better words, no dick measuring contest. It was just fun.
Well,
It's the way it's supposed to be.
yes, 100%. I wish that we seen a lot more of that because, like you said, I hate the fucking drama shit. The dick measuring stuff is ridiculous. Speaking of dick measuring stuff, let's talk about you and that Camaro. Derek, he had to watch that shit from home.
We'll start out with, I've been white my whole life, so But with the Camaro, I have a really good friend named Jonathan Kruger. He's begged me for years to get into a compact. And I told him if I ever got one, it'd be a Camaro. I don't own a Camaro. If I ever did it, I'd have to have a Camaro and an engine. I don't have an engine. So Johnny brought me a Camaro, brought me a motor, and we went through it, made it tip-top and everything, and then started reading the rules and realized that Camaros are pretty nasty.
That's a fucking understatement.
Yeah. We learned a lot, especially throughout reading the rules. If you read the rules and it's, you dabble into the gray area, there were so many things that you could do to that full-size guys only wish that they could do to their cars. If we could do those to full-size cars, they'd be a lot harder. And then getting in it, I was nervous because you do see W bodies that just rock the house, and you can race that are wicked. But when me and Johnny got out there, I realized that, I don't know, fuck your W body. On everything you got and then some. And, Johnny drove a lot harder. Johnny he set the pace big time. As far as I'm concerned, he was the mad dog of the whole compact event that weekend.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
run right the first night. Second night, the motor come to life, and everything ran right. But I hate to say it, I hate compacts with a passion. But that hate's a little bit less now.
So here's my deal. You got Jonathan Kruger, you, Cody Carroll, and Jared Alvord. How in the fuck did you guys get a team of multiple states together and to go out there and just annihilate shit? I had you picked to win it. I mean, I know you guys got second.
well, yeah, but they drove like they were a fucking team that had been together for 10 years.
That's my question. How in the fuck did you guys team up to do this and then go out and drive how y'all did?
And I think that's because I think you guys can relate to this. When you meet people, you know how close you're going to be with them. So me and Johnny met very close. Me and Jared, when I first met Jared, we didn't care for each other. He is all compact, and I was completely anti-compact, so we argued back and forth with that for a long time. But then, then comes an amount of mutual respect when he can see that I'm not just hating on compact, I'm hating on anything that doesn't bring a show. Like, let's face the facts. I'm going to dabble just a little bit so I don't waste all the time, but compacts in the last 10 years have been a joke, especially in my area. First, they won't come, or they bring this piece of crap gut and go car that they weld 12 inches more on, and they think they're going to rock the house. The motors don't run. They go into limp mode. It's a joke show for the crowd. And then you have Jared and Johnny and Trent Mason, the guys around here that take it serious. That's 3 cars out of 12. Derby lasts 7 minutes, and it's over. The same 3 guys win, so I just didn't care for them. And then we became friends. As far as Cody Carroll, I work with him out at Stern Dirt. Dad's amazing. Little brother's amazing. Boston. And so between Scooter, Boston, and Cody, whenever I go out there, we're constantly BSing, and we needed a partner. One of our partners back there, we were supposed to run with Joseph Hoffer, who ran on Outsiders 2 years ago, big cars. And he had some other things go on, so we had to pick up a partner, and my first thought was Cody or Boston with Cody's little brother, and Cody said he'd take it, and we discussed back and forth repeatedly, but I can't say we had a game plan. We just, I don't know, got lucky. We did drive really good as a team. A couple flop-ups in the heat. We discussed them, who's the hammer and who's the guy who's going to set back, so we got out of each other's way, and then the rest everybody else kind of seen on TV or in person.
Well, it looked like you and Jonathan were the fucking hammers.
Yeah, and that's what we said from the beginning. Johnny, after watching the video, I think next year you won't see as wild a Johnny. He's still going to be just as wild, but maybe not the doors and the bumpers that are bent up into the cradles.
Okay, so you just said that. Does that mean there's a possibility of that team returning to South Dakota in 2024?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, we're going. And, because Cody had some bad luck. It wasn't his fault. It's just bad luck. But I think if he wouldn't have had bad luck right away, I still think we could have overcame him.
I think you could have, too. I think you would have.
Yeah, and nothing against Nick Celeste at all and his group of drivers, amazing drivers, but, they chose the game and they went that way, and I think we all chose that at the beginning. We were just going to go down and make a wall. And then Cody, as soon as the green flag dropped, he shot across the arena, WFO, and went nose to nose, and then in my mind, I was like, well, I guess that's how we're going to do this.
That's how we're going to fuck this pig.
Well, I was sitting up top looking down on this shit, and I was like, man, they better get on Wil if they're wanting this. Because at that point, all you were doing was just feeding them the fucking door.
Oh, yeah.
They were getting no shots on that Camaro, and I'm like,
took
fuck.
some good door shots, but that's the name of the game. If I feed it, you're going to hit it.
And you were 100% feeding that door.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the thing that we had talked about, which Steven and I have talked, and we've talked to other compact guys. A Camaro is a smaller fucking version of a Cadillac. Cadillac problems are in the fucking front suspension. Same way with a Camaro. So you were making it where they couldn't hit that suspension, and that's why you never lost steering.
Right. I lost steering like when it was down to 3 cars. So one guy come in and he got me in the front end, and that front driver's side tire, and that was the end of that one. But it actually sheared off my idler arm and my pitman arm. Sheared it off the box and then sheared it off the frame.
Ouch.
Yeah. But it was so different. As far as the build of the Camaro, I built so many GMs, like your back bar. My back bar was 1 inch narrower than on a full-size car. Because I put the bars in the doors, and so that way I could get as much room for my Greek Adonis body to fit in there.
Smart. Dude, what is your 24 looking like? I know we're just in the middle of January, but are you on pins and needles of what's going to happen in this calendar year?
I wasn't till about a week ago when Lexi got hurt, and I did some things last year, and coming into 2024 was looking pretty good, and then this happened. So really, it's going to be a matter of financials, what I'm going to do. But coming right out of the gate, I'm going to go run Capital City Carnage in the street stock class, and then we have Border Wars following that. I'm going to go run Border Wars. And then it just kind of goes nuts with my shows and Stern Dirt shows in Colorado.
Well,
it's looking heavy.
What shows do you have on the promotion side?
I have 6 or 7 shows on the promotion side. I have Oglala, which is McConaughey Massacre, which is the one of the 2 biggest shows that I do, and it's on Memorial Day weekend. Then we run into some fair shows. I have McCook, Nebraska, where I live, and I have Overland, Kansas, Stockville, Nebraska, Hoxie, Kansas. Then I have what we call Rumble on the Rails in Sydney, Nebraska, which is the other second biggest show that I run, and it's more of a bone stock dominant show, and it's at the end of July. And I think that's pretty much it.
Well, if
all the Stern Dirt stuff,
we might need to come out. We might need to come out and hit up one of your shows.
Right. Hold on, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but just put a 4-barrel on a derby car, my brother, sending the onion to it.
But yeah, we might have to come out and check out one of your shows. Do you have the dates on those yet?
Yeah, Memorial Day was like the two biggest shows for you to come out that aren't a fair show will be Memorial Day weekend, and then McConaughey Master will be towards the end of July, or Rumble on the Rails in City, Nebraska. But I can get you those dates. Those are the two bigger ones.
Text that shit over.
Yeah. After we get off the phone, send us a text on that because we might get that on the calendar.
Yeah, I mean I'll tell you, you guys went to Border Wars in Nebraska last year, so you kind of got a taste of what happens. I'm not bragging on Nebraska, but you come to Nebraska, you better have your T's crossed and your I's dotted because everybody else does.
Better lace your shoes really tight.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Don't talk shit. I'll steal a phrase from my brother, you know. If you talk shit, you better tighten your seatbelt real tight.
Well, brother man, we appreciate you getting on with us. I know we're trying to bounce a schedule with you and some mishaps of what happened with Lexi. So we just appreciate you taking the time to get on here with us to do this, and we will damn sure be seeing you well before Salt Lake City, Utah in September.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I'm building that 03 for Carnage, and then I'm up in the air. I'm either going to take a Pontiac or I'm going to build for the first time ever my own 80 model Ford. Because between Larry and I, we've never built one and ran one ourselves. But we'll see each other more. And I appreciate you guys, looking out and paying attention. The one thing we can do is try to help everybody below us. Because like you guys said, it's not a $1,500 derby world anymore.
No, that shit don't work. But like I said, we appreciate you. We'll catch up next time we do one of these interviews. We'll do it in person, and we'll pick your brain the whole episode.
That'll work perfect.
Well, thank you, sir.
Look forward to seeing you guys.
Yep.
Later, brother.
All right. See ya.
All right, bye.
Well, guys, there's just a little taste of another person that you can look for on social media for them little tips and tricks. I know there's some people out there that aren't huge fans of Wil, but you can't deny that his builds are right.
His builds are right, and he's putting this out just the way Tyson Shelley.
Yes,
Tyson's showing you his car.
Uh-huh.
Wil, with the permission of the person he's building it for,
showing you everybody's car.
showing you everybody's, if they allow it.
Right.
But there's that one guy who says, "Oh, fuck you! Don't
Right.
you show them nothing."
Right.
But the 03 that I was watching on that
That's
is
his.
his.
Yeah,
He's
he's taking it
showing
to
you
Carnage.
what the fuck you're doing, what he's doing for Capital Carnage,
And there was
where
some
he's
shit
doing
on
it.
there because I've watched it. I try to keep up on that shit as much as possible, especially as much as we talk about that shit. So the people that think we just come in here and record one day a week, there's fucking work that goes into that. Yes, it's something I enjoy, or I wouldn't keep doing the shit. But at night, whenever I'm sitting in my chair, I'm rolling through there, checking out what's going on, looking at all that shit. Because there were some things that Wil tried on that 03 that I was like,
One thing he tried on, one thing I saw, and I was like, I've never seen that.
And it may be, that might be a game changer, or it might be something that other people are doing that I didn't know about.
Correct.
So check his shit out. He's on TikTok. I know that a lot of that shit gets shared over toward Facebook.
It's on Will Be Yours
Yeah.
Customs, isn't it?
I think so.
Isn't that his TikTok?
Why the fuck didn't we ask him? we just had him on the phone.
But no, what I enjoy is when we talk to Wil in Salt Lake
It's
City.
under Wil Steinbeck.
It is, okay.
Yep.
So when we were in Utah, he told you to your face, he can show you what to do to make the car harder with inside any rule set that you would run. That's years of knowledge.
But and another thing that he told me is that I can tell you exactly where to put a plate, where it needs to be, what works, whenever we're building cars. He's like, now, is that going to 100% work for you? It might not.
Don't know.
But he said, I know that it works on that car.
Mm-hmm.
So that
But
right
how
there,
you drive a car and how Larry drives a car and how Will drives a car.
we've seen how Larry drives a car. It's wide the fuck open.
Word.
That way.
And Larry's kids. Same way.
So the amount of cars that those dudes have run through that shop.
Oh, God. I wouldn't even want to count.
No. So, I mean, whether you love him or hate him, there's knowledge to be found in the videos.
Oh, yes.
And especially somebody starting out. I don't give it. Like, if you don't know a fucking thing, you can go on there and you can build a car.
Mm-hmm. If you got the car.
Yep. Because what he shows you how to do is time consuming. It's not expensive.
It's hours, not
Yes.
dollars. Hours, not dollars.
Yep.
And that makes a big difference for that kid coming up.
You're fucking A right.
That 17-year-old, and he just kind of been doing some gut and go big car shit. And he was like, you know what? I want to move up one class.
Yeah.
But I'm going to get to do this. I'm going to get to bury the tank protector. I'm going to get to cold tilt this bitch. I'm going to get to hard
And
nose
all
it
that
with a
shit
bumper
right
bracket.
there, that does not cost you no money.
Nope. No, it does not.
So I know that this one kind of took a little turn there, but it's something that people enjoy talking about.
But when we have an opportunity to talk to a builder, social media influencer, tech promoter, any of that shit, we're going to get
take
them
the
on.
fucking opportunity.
Yes. Yep.
Because I feel like you fuckers out there thirst for knowledge.
Sometimes.
And we're trying to extinguish that thirst.
Yes. Nebraska is a little bit of a haul for us, but if it's a couple big shows a year where we can take a 6-hour drive, fuck it. Let's take a
Especially
6-hour
if I've
drive.
got some fucking junk laying around that can be thrown on a trailer. Because I'm telling you, my truck don't get no different fuel mileage. If it's got a car behind it,
Or it don't.
yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a good 24.
I hope so.
It kind of started out being a
Bender till December.
expensive 24, but I know what's next. You know what's next. So the listeners just have to see what's next. Justin Broadhead is still getting his 10% discount codes.
Oh, yeah. And
Spoke
if
with
you
him
don't
yesterday.
remember what that code was,
Hard Nose 24.
there you go. That'll get you 10% off roof signs, door wraps, stickers, dick pic, or stickers.
He sent me one yesterday for that one time at band camp. He sent me one of those yesterday. But, guys, with all these big shows coming up, you want a new look. You want that new look. You want that bling, that something that pops.
Let Broadhead build it for you.
Yes.
Let him work for you. Because you can give that dude a half-ass idea, and he's going to send you something back, and you're going to be like, motherfucker. And he's going to be like, you want anything changed? You're going to be like, no.
Nope, we're good. He's sending.
I need to talk to that dude again because I need some more of them stickers that say Hard Nose was here because they are popping up on gas pumps everywhere. I've been getting Snapchats of that shit because I want to get some more out. I want to do another deal where I'll send somebody, a sleeve of those stickers, if they win the whatever. And then you'll get entered in another drawing whenever somebody starts sending those stickers back in, like pictures of them.
Pics of the sticks.
Yes, fuck yeah. Because I bet over the last, since
South
Gold Rush,
Dakota.
I bet I've had 5 or 6 Snapchats from people that didn't have the stickers of the stickers on gas pumps. Bathrooms, love it.
I don't know about you.
There's no such thing as bad publicity.
That's what Eazy said. Hey, I'm just throwing that out there. But big stuff. We know it's the dead of winter. We know it's January. I got a Snapchat yesterday on a car that's going to Border Wars, it's pretty much fucking done.
I got pictures sent to me via Messenger of some cars that we might be hooking up with some wraps and whatnot. Little team setting
Yep.
of a bear frame. And said it looks
He
like it's
said-
time to get down on it.
Some fuckery
Yes.
is what he said.
Yes.
We need to get, we just before April 18th, 19th weekend, we need to get him back on.
Yes.
You just did a little snippet with him in South Dakota, but I think we need a full sit-down episode of some said fuckery.
Did you see how clean that frame was?
Yep.
Because I know what year that is. It is very well preserved.
It was not in the weeds.
Fuck no. That wasn't set by the ocean, I can tell you.
No.
that.
Maybe in the mountains, but not the ocean.
I guess it's time to start some fuckery is what I got from that.
Yep. Yeah, so thank you guys for making this what it is.
Oh man, our numbers are looking fucking crazy. The last 30-day numbers are insane, something I never thought we'd see.
I don't know 11,000 people, but 11,000 people know us.
True that.
So
That's fucking crazy, y'all. just to let you know, that is fucking insane.
yes,
We're up like 250% off of 22.
23.
22.
22?
Yeah. So you all grew us double times last year. Let's see if we can do it again.
You grow us double times, we might have something.
Ain't no shit.
3-hander instead of a 2-hander.
No show. But we appreciate the fuck out of you all. Keep doing it. Keep downloading that shit. Keep listening. And the more you all that do that, the more shit we'll give away.
That's right.
And the more people we can send to fucking youth nationals, and the more shit we can sponsor and put names on and all that fun shit.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, anytime that we get any kind of money, it don't stay here very long.
No. No. It goes right the fuck back out.
It's not like we are stacking that shit up in a fucking bank bag somewhere. As soon as we get it, we spend it on something else, like these new mics that you're listening to right now.
That's right. No more gold.
No more bling.
No
man.
more bling. We're all professional and shit. We're all professional. But we figured spend a little money to make it sound better.
For you guys.
So, got any last words?
We'll see you fuckers next week.
Make jump, boys.